awesome instrument. That is such a cool instrument right there. I want to welcome you guys out here to Life's Purpose in the Walk the Talk series. Today I want to talk to you about my journey, and in the end of it, I kind of want to give you what I believe is a path for you to follow if you want to not only define your personal mission for you, but also to be able to successfully complete your personal mission in your life. See, what I found out a few months ago was that a guy by the name of Jan Suman out of the Max Planck Institute said that most people who are lost tend to walk in circles. So as you think about those movies where people they're in the woods and they end up coming back to that same rock, and that same rock, and that same rock, what we find out is that research shows that that's true. And what he did is he took 4 people, put them in the middle of the forest. And he told them to walk out in a general direction. They're supposed to just walk in a straight line. Now, 3 of these people actually walked in a circle. They had a GPS tracker on to find out what they were doing. The one person did not. Now, the question is, what's the difference between the 3 and that 1? And the answer is that the 3 who walked in circles were under the cover of darkness. They couldn't see where they were going. The one person who walked a fairly straight line had the sunlight out. So what I propose to you is that your personal mission, your purpose, be that sunlight that guides you in a straight and narrow path. Because what I found out most of my life, every year I would make this decree, like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be the best year ever. I write some plans. I'll get excited, like, this is the year. Then next year comes around. No, this is going to be the year. I make some plans, get excited, and start going at it. And then next year, the same thing. The great thing about the human spirit is we continue to get excited about those things, right? But I wanted to stop walking in circles. So I tell you a little bit about my story, where this all began, and how I came up with this personal mission and what I call the ABCs of success. See, let's start at the beginning. In college, when I graduated from college, I went sitting at a friend's house, and I was basically taking the L for the team, okay? For those of you who don't understand what taking the L is, I was the guy that was supposed to sit with the girls who weren't hooking up. I was supposed to keep them company while my friends went upstairs. So I'm taking the L for the team. And so I'm sitting there, and this girl was talking to me, just yap, 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 and I'm not paying her any attention. I don't even know why she kept talking. But I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I taking the L? I mean, I'm a good-looking guy. I got a nice car. I got a nice job. Why am I taking the L? I made a decision right then. Never again, I'm going to change. So I went out on this mission. My first mission was to master the art of seduction. Now, I know you guys are wondering, like, what does this have to do with life's purpose? Just hang with me, right? See, as I went on this is the early ages of the internet, so I started looking around for different ways of getting better at seduction. And I got all these different techniques. People want to manipulate, peacocking, all types of stuff. But I ran across this guy named David D'Angelo. He had a book called Double Your Dating. And that sounded nice. That sounded real nice. So I got into this book, and I really started working with him, working through his materials, because he talked about working from the inside out. Turning us into a person that is more attractive so we can attract the person that we wanted into our lives. He was speaking about building more confidence. He introduced me to NLP. So again, that's where it led to. So I actually started on this journey of personal development through trying to be a pickup artist. Now, I could continue on for years. I'm working on this and trying to continue to build myself up, trying to build up my self-confidence. And then my life takes a big turn again. One day I'm sitting on this cold, hard bench, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. Now, on this bench, it's actually in jail. And I was facing 12 years of prison time for crimes that I committed, trying to fulfill my addiction. See, in all that journey, all the self-development, all the personal development that I had done myself, I didn't work on that one underlying thing. That was my addiction. So here I was sitting on a bench in jail facing 12 years prison. Now here's the thing, y'all. About 10 years before this, I had graduated from college with honors and an opportunity to go play professional baseball. But here I was 10 years later, a drug addict with a record, felonies out the wahoo, facing 12 years of prison. How did I get here? See, these are the type of questions that when we want to make a change in life, we start going on that personal mission. We start asking ourselves, never again, how did I get here, and where do I want to go? See, at that moment, I made a decision that I was going to change. And when I changed my life, I was going to turn around and start helping other people in similar positions to change their life. You see, I defined my personal mission for myself. Most people think that having a life's purpose means that the skies are going to open up, the hand's going to come down and say, you, sir, shall be, fill in the blank. But that's not how it happens for most of us. Most of us don't get knocked off of our proverbial horse and blinded and start changing our life around. Some of you know what I'm talking about. But if you define your personal mission, here's what I know. God cannot steer a parked car. So if I start getting moving, he will be that I put a light in the sky, start guiding me towards the direction that I want to go. So I define my personal mission for myself, and then I start on this journey of how do I get there? Right? And what I came up with this thing, later I found out it's called the ABCs of success. They stand for your attitudes, your beliefs, and your commitments. So if you define your personal mission for yourself, as you start changing your attitudes, improving your beliefs, and defining your commitments, you will start walking that path towards accomplishing your personal mission. So let me tell you how it worked for me. So when I was sitting there for those 9 months I was in jail, that I started working on my attitude by writing. Writing, journaling. It was freeing my mind, so I started getting into this positive mental attitude. You see, what psychology says is that with a positive mental attitude, it opens up the possibilities to what we want to do. And if you've defined your personal mission, the world's supposed to open up a bunch of possibilities to you. But that's not the case if you're still under those clouds of darkness that I started the story with. See, with a negative mind, Dr. Fredrickson says that with a negative thinking, your focus narrows and you will not see all the possibilities that's available to you. And if you're trying to live a personal mission that's grander than you, you need to see possibilities. So I focused on opening up my positive mental attitude. Not only through my writing, but starting to meditate. Yeah, I'm talking about if you can meditate with a bunch of rioting and crazy, testosterone-filled men running around there banging on trash cans, wanting to push each other, stealing people's cookies, like seriously, they're stealing cookies and fighting over it, right? With all this going on, all hours of the day, and you can find a quiet place and meditate, yeah, you can get there. So those of you thinking that there's too much noise going on in your life, when you focus enough time, you have a big enough purpose, a big enough why, you'll start changing. Which leads me to the B, which is belief. Now, I'm not talking about belief as in religion and things of that nature. I'm talking about self-efficacy. See, self-efficacy says I believe that I can do the things that I say that I want to do. And if you think about it, that's pretty important if you're trying to live out your personal mission. I defined this personal mission. I started moving on my positive mental attitude. Now I have to build up my self-efficacy that says I can actually do that. And I will do it. Because you guys think about this. Have you ever tried to do anything that you really didn't believe that you could do? More than likely, you have not. See, even if it's the small hint of a chance, that's what you need, a little spark before you even start to try to do something. And what I surmise to you is that there's 3 ways that I found that helped me to build my own self-efficacy. The first one was working on myself. While I was in jail, I worked on myself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. I literally got down on the floors. I had people on my back doing push-ups to try to build up my physique. I'm still a small guy, but I wanted to get strong and feel good, right? You see, when psychology tells us that you start feeling good, you start actually building your self-belief in yourself. I started working on my emotions because obviously I had a problem. I was an addict, so obviously my emotions were all out of whack. I didn't know how much they are out of whack because I was always numbing them down. Right? So I started working on my emotions, which meant not getting in the fights when somebody tried to steal my cookies. I'm serious, y'all. Stealing cookies is a big deal. I started working on my mentality. Now, again, I had a lot of time, so I was reading a lot of books. I was reading about 3 books a week, and I was trying to talk to everybody. Matter of fact, they started calling me the professor. Because if anybody had a question, they say, this is the question for the professor! And I'd poke my head up like, what's up? What's the question? What's 10 divided by 2? Come on, man. These are the kind of questions I really got, and I'm being serious. So I'm working on my mental aspect of myself, and I started working on spirituality. Because I definitely had a disconnect with my higher power. That required me to, again, get into prayer. I got back into my Bible. I started teaching some Bible studies while I was in there. And this started helping me building my own belief in myself. The second thing is to borrow from other people. See, we can borrow the belief of somebody that's around us, our environment, to help us do those things that we really want to do. And if I'm trying to live out my personal mission, sometimes I need to lean on somebody else and borrow their belief in me and in my mission. So do you have that around you if you're trying to live out your personal mission? The third thing, after belief in yourself, borrowing the belief from others, is a belief in God. See, I absolutely believe that God has given us a divine purpose for us to live out in this lifetime. That doesn't mean you got to be the president. Doesn't mean you have to go be this grand thing. It could just be the best mother or grandmother in the world. That could be your mission. Because God has given me these gifts, and I must know that he believes in me. And when I know that he believes in me and he's created me, now I was like, wait a minute, you believe in me to do what? And every once in a while, just like backstage, before I go to speak, before I come out here and talk or speak to my clients or so forth, the first thing I do is to say, God, give me the words. Because I don't want to be me. I want him to speak to you because I know he has more power than I do. And he's helped me to live out my purpose on my birthday. So I think it's working. So we have attitude, we have beliefs. The last thing is commitments. Now, the thing about commitments is that when you try something, as we talked about in our beliefs, how many of you have, just like me as I began off, have started and stopped, started and stopped, started and started, and started and started, never finished anything? You see, our commitments are the things that define who we are. See, a person who has patience is committed to being patient in a situation. A person who is an executionist is committed to executing the things that they say they want to do. And I myself, I had a habit of getting high. I was committed to getting high every day. But with the process that I went through, defining my personal mission, changing my attitudes, improving my belief system, and creating some new habits for myself, I started changing myself systematically. It was so simple, yet so hard. You see, that is the hard work we must do, is to finish those things that we have started. The only way that I'm going to get to that goal that I want, my personal mission for myself as I began, is to have that light. That's your personal mission. And along the way, to use your attitudes, improve your belief systems, and change your commitments so that they help you get to that path you want to do. So one day you will sit here and say, I remember that talk with that guy talking about the art of seduction and changing his life through personal development. That worked for me. And I hope I did that for you today, something I said. That you can go out and live out your own personal mission and find yourself in your own stage, wherever it may be.